Hey everybody, so I am super excited to come to you today with this haul slash unboxing, as well as showing you guys how to prep a new acrylic brush, and showing you guys some new products from a brand that I've never tried before. So if you are anybody who watches nails on YouTube, you probably have heard of Kirsty Meakin. She used to be part of the Neo Nails channel, but now she has her own channel. She also has her own product line where she has like gel polishes, tools, a whole bunch of different nail stuff. She's been a professional nail artist for years and years and years. And I just love watching her channel. I've learned so much on how to do my nails from her. And I saw that she came out with some new products recently, and I was really intrigued, and I've never bought anything from her line, so I wanted to try it out. So I'm gonna be telling you guys how I think of the products. I did want to do kind of like an unboxing, even though I know I've done quite a lot of those already on my channel, mainly because she's in the UK and I am in the US, so I wanted to kind of show you guys how it comes. Now the only thing I did was I cut the seal right here and I opened the top lid because my address and everything is on the top. So everything you see here is how it looks when you just open the top right as you get the box. So this is what it is, and I'm just gonna go ahead and try to pull this out and get it to come. So you obviously have the packing peanuts. Here is the products. I think all of the products are in this little container from what I can see here. So I'm going to move that box to the side just so it's not in our way. So this is what it looks like. And I'm going to go ahead, if I can find some scissors so that I can cut this open for you. I should have thought of that. Alrighty, so once that is all kind of cut so that I can open it up, this is what you see. It has a little card from her. It says, "A sprinkle of magic from me to you," signed Kirsty. It has her emails and her social media. It also has her signature rose design right there. So really cute, some more rose skull designs over on this side as well. So a very cute little card that you get. Obviously it has some little frills and stuff, and so I only bought a couple of things. So the things that I got was, and one kind of fell out here. I got all of her normal acrylic brushes, so not the 3D like design brushes, just the normal sculpting brushes, and she has 4 total in her line. She redid, I think, her original brush that used to be double-ended with a 3D brush as well as a sculpting brush, and now you can buy them individually. I don't personally do 3D work quite yet. I find it very difficult, so I don't have a lot of practice with it yet, so I only bought the original brushes. So I'll show you those in a second. And then the other things that I got are, I got her new like Pro Tools kit, or not the kit, I bought a couple of products from the line. So I bought both the curved and the straight edge scissors. These are very different than the scissors that I am used to, so I'll show you those. And these are in the bronze color. They also come in silver. And then the last thing I got is this little tool. I actually don't remember what it's called, but it's actually meant to help you measure and like gauge the thickness and sides of your nail. So I will show you guys that as well, just so you know, because I know that these were kind of falling out when I pulled them out. They do have stoppers that go to it. I think they just fell out into this box. So it does come with stoppers, but I'm not too worried about that as long as the brush is okay. So I'm going to go ahead and move this to the side as well so that it's out of the way, and I'm gonna go ahead and take these brushes out of their packaging, and I will show you guys how I personally prep new acrylic brushes. I'll show you some beads and how these brushes kind of pick up acrylic beads and all of that jazz. The only thing I won't really be able to show you today is these scissors. I won't be able to really show you how they cut like the cuticle and whatnot because I'm not doing my own nails today, but I can show them in future videos if you want to see them. So I'm just gonna pull everything out like I said. So I went ahead and I unboxed everything from its little plastic packaging. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the tools first, and then I'll go into the brushes. Don't mind my crusty nails. I didn't put oil on after washing my hands because I didn't want to touch the brushes with oil on my hands. So just don't mind that. Normally I would have oiled them so you don't have to see my crusty, dusty nails. These have been on for a couple weeks now anyway too, so don't mind that. But I'm going to show you guys the tools first because like I said, it's going to be easier since I'm not going to show you how to prep anything with these. So first things first is this little like gauge tool. Like I said, I can't remember exactly what it is called, but what I saw her use this for is to measure the thickness of a nail. So it has these numbers here on the side. It has her little logo and her name here as well. So really nice touch and design. But it shows you these numbers on both sides so that you can get an accurate reading no matter what hand you're using, if you're a righty, lefty, and which side you're using this on. So, you know, if I'm doing it this way, I'll be able to read the numbers as easily as if I was doing it on this side of the nail. So, the way that I saw her do this is actually, so you push this little lever right here, so you can see it kind of goes down, and then you pinch it onto the area that you want to measure. So oops, sorry, it was a little out of focus there. So I'm putting that right onto the apex of my thumbnail. And then as you can see, I am right about at 3 millimeters. I believe it's in millimeters is what I'm reading here. But I'm right at the number 3, just slightly underneath it. So you can use that to measure to see if you're getting like similar thickness throughout your set. From what I understand, these are more popular in like competitions where you have to be a little bit more specific on the thickness and the shape and all of that in your application. But I thought that this would be fun to have just to kind of see how I'm doing and how uniform my application is and my filing, and I thought it would just be something fun to kind of play with. So I did get this. It does come in silver as well, so all of the tools that she sells come in both bronze and silver, so you can pick which one you want. They do have a set that has a bunch of other tools with it and a carrying case, so if that's something that you're interested in, you can absolutely get that. I just wanted to try a couple things out first, so I ended up just picking a few of them, but I might go back later on and get the set if I do end up really liking these. So the next thing are these two scissors. So they're essentially the same product, but the difference between them is that one is a curved blade, whereas the other is a straight blade. So I pulled out my favorite scissors. These are from Amazon. I don't know exactly what seller, but I had bought in these a while ago, and these actually are the sharpest pair of scissors that I have found, and they are also a straight blade. The reason that I like a straight blade and don't mind the little stickiness, I use this to cut my forms. But the reason I like the straight blade is because I use this to cut my forms, and I find that it's easier for me to cut, you know, straight lines on the side to just relieve like pressure on the side if you have like a deep side pocket and you're just trying to give a little extra room. It's easier using a straight blade than a curved. I also, for some reason, find if I'm trying to cut out a little curve for my hyponychium, which you can see here, so you see how like my nail is, you know, up to here in length, but you see that little kind of line of skin. So my hyponychium actually comes out to about halfway up where my natural nail has grown out to. So when I do a form, I have to give a little extra room along that curve, which I can actually point to you. I have one here that I use to measure. I have to cut a little extra right along here to just give a little space for that extra extended hyponychium. And I find that even trying to get a curved cut using a straight edge scissor is actually easier for me. So these are my favorite ones. They were very cheap, so I would recommend looking on Amazon. I'm sure they have a lot of good tools, but these were intriguing to me because they're not a traditional scissor style. So this is the style that you would normally see, you know, if you have kitchen scissors or, you know, just household scissors. That's what they look like. You have, you know, the two ends where you put your two fingers and they open and shut just kind of like a jaw or a clamp. Now this one almost reminds me like a tweezer at the base, and you open it up this way. So there's a little piece of plastic that just protects the blades. And this is the curved blade. So you can see it kind of has, it goes into that curve at the end. It's not particularly straight, but you kind of pinch this like you would a tweezer. So I thought this was really intriguing. I haven't seen any brands that sell scissors like this, and I wanted to test it out to see how I like this style of scissor. And obviously, her being a nail tech for quite some time, she knows how to make good products. So these are also very, very small and sharp, so you can get very detailed cuts with it from what I saw on her video. So with this, you get the same little like skull and rose print design on the side, and then on the other you get her name. So there's those little details as well, again in the bronze shade, and it's very, very lightweight. Like if I was gonna hold this one comparing, I would say this is probably less than half the weight of the original scissors that I use. So it actually is very lightweight in your hand. I think if you're somebody who, if you have like issues with your wrist or your hands cramp up really easily, this would actually be really good for you, since you don't have to hold like a very heavy object and try to do some very detailed work with it. I think it'll take some getting used to, since you're more just clamping your hand versus kind of opening and shutting the way you traditionally think of when you think of scissors. But I think it's definitely a cool design, and I think it could have its own benefits. So the reason I got the two different kinds is because I wanted the curved edge nail clippers to do like cuticle cutting, so when you're actually trying to trim the cuticle, but I also wanted to get these ones, which I'll put that back on. I wanted to get the straight ones because I like straight edge ones, like I said, for cutting my forms. So I thought that these would be best for the form kind of tailoring, whereas these would be best actually using on the nail and on the skin. So that's why I bought both of them. The design and little like stamping on it is the same. Very sleek. It's about the same weight. I don't think there's really much of a difference between the two. Both are very, very sharp from what you can see. So I think they look really cool, and I'm very excited to play around with them. So I'm probably going to keep the little like plastic holder that they came in just to protect them, since these are a little bit expensive. I think the US price for these was a little under $30. I think it was around $28, if I'm remembering correctly. I'll put it down below for you, the link, so you guys can go check it out, but they are a little bit pricey. I do think it's well worth it, considering like how nice they feel, and how nice they look, and considering that they are a very unique product. At least for myself, I don't see a lot of the popular brands nowadays having tools like this. I see more of the traditional one, like I showed you, I typically use from Amazon. So I'll link these below, but these are really cool, and I was excited to try these out. Now, the next thing is the brushes. So these I was super excited about for a couple of reasons. One, I just am a hoarder when it comes to acrylic brushes, but two, I really wanted to test out her brushes, considering how well known she is in the industry and how long she's been in the industry. I'm sure her brushes are very good quality. So I wanted to try these out and kind of let you guys know what I thought of it. So these are, I think, her original style of brush. And the packaging on them is actually pretty similar to a packaging that I've seen before. So I'm actually going to see if I can find it for you guys. Actually, it's right here. So this is one of the Valentino brushes I have here. This, I think, is either the size 14 or 16. It doesn't say it on here. It says it on the cap, but I didn't keep the cap. I have it stored somewhere because I know myself, and I'm gonna just ruin my bristles if I use the cap. But this is a design that I've seen even on like Amazon, Nail Supply Glamour. A bunch of other brushes have this little crystal design, so that was intriguing to me to see how hers kind of compared. From what I can tell between the Valentino and the Kirsty Meakin brushes, the base portion of it looks exactly the same. The main difference obviously between this one and this one is you have the bronze or like rose gold kind of detailing right here on the handle, whereas this obviously has more of like a printed design, and it's that rose gold here on the bottom, and whereas this is gold. So that's one difference. Hers has the names of each brush because she has names versus numbers on her brushes, but it does tell you what size the brushes are on the website. So there is the Alicia Sculpt and the Izzy Busy brush. I believe the Alicia one is a size 14 and the Izzy Busy is a size 12. So depending on what style you prefer to work with is which one you are going to most likely pick up. It has the skull and rose design here at the top again, which I think is a very cute detail to have. And her name is on the opposite side of that little ferrule piece. So I'm going to go ahead. I'll start off with the biggest one. This is the Alicia Sculpt brush. That cap is very snug on there from what I can tell. Looks good. So this is the brush itself. So it comes straight to a point. It's a pinched ferrule, which means it's going to come a lot more narrow here at the end. It's not an oval brush not like a round brush where you don't have any pinch in the ferrule. It's going to be a complete round circle all the way around, and it gives you kind of a different shaped bead when you pick it up. So that's what this one looks like. I'm going to put that back in just right now. I'm going to just leave it out like that. And then this one, the Izzy Busy brush, like I said, I believe this is the size 12. So I'm going to go ahead and open this. These caps are very snug on there, which could be a good or bad thing depending. If you are somebody, like I said, that you have like some nerve stuff in your hands, you might find that it's a little difficult to get open, but I'm sure over time it'll start to loosen up as well. So this one is definitely smaller than the other one. I'll go ahead and show you the two side by side. So you have on this side, this is the Izzy Busy, and then this one is the Alicia Sculpt. So you can kind of see them side by side as far as size goes. And like I said, I will show you what they, I will show you how they pick up beads and how I prep them. Now, I'm going to put these to the side, and then I'm going to show you guys this one, which these are the ones that I really was excited about because the packaging just looks so unique and so cool. So there's two of these as well. I believe one is a size 10 and one is a size 12. So she has two size 12 brushes in each different packaging, so you can pick which one works best for you. So the size 10 is called Mr. Buttons, and then the size 12 is called Oscar the Wild. It has this kind of blue and like blue chrome and rose gold chrome with some shattered ice kind of effect throughout. You have her signature like little skull and rose. It has her logo and obviously the name of the brush. And then this one is a little different because the cap just comes off like that. So it's a little different of a cap and a brush handle. This, I believe, is a little lighter from what I can tell. Yeah, these are a lot lighter than these ones, but these ones are not heavy brushes. I wouldn't say they're heavy at all. I do think they're a little bottom heavy compared to these ones. These ones are more like lightweight and airy. They almost feel like you're holding like a pencil, versus this is more like a traditional brush feel. So I'll take off this little cap. So this one is the Mr. Buttons. This is the size 10. So I will put that down there. And then this one is the size 12, the Oscar the Wild brush. And I'll show you those next to each other. So Mr. Buttons, Oscar the Wild. And then I will put these next to each other. I'll try to put the 12s next to each other so you can kind of see how those look. So if you're looking at this right now, it goes size 10, Mr. Buttons, 12, Oscar the Wild, 12, Izzy Busy, and 14, Alicia Sculpting Brush. And they all have pinched ferrules, just so you're aware. So if you like a round brush, this is not going to be the brush for you. But if you do prefer a pinch brush, which I prefer a pinch brush, I find it's just easier to work with. And you can really get that end of the brush, that tip, to really taper down and get like really detailed work. So I find that that is my favorite. And so I personally like this. You may not, so just so you're aware. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to close up some of these. I don't think there's a difference in the caps. I probably should have paid attention to that to make sure I was putting the right ones with the right ones, but I think they are the same. I'm going to go ahead and close up some of them, and then I'm going to show you guys how I prep one of the brushes. Alrighty, so I'm going to go ahead. I have a very small dappen dish here because I'm only using this for like showing purposes and for prepping the brush, so I don't need a lot. I'm going to go ahead and prep the Izzy Busy brush. This is a size 12. My favorite size to work with typically is a size 12. It's just the easiest for me to work with. I like 10s as well, so 10 or 12 is kind of my sweet spot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start kind of fluffing the brush out. As you can see, when I first got it, it is kind of hard and stiff, and that's how most brushes come. And you want to go ahead and just start fluffing it out. You don't have to be super careful with it, but you obviously don't want to start yanking at the bristles. And I don't know if you're going to be able to tell on this camera. Maybe if I move the towel over just a little bit and show you this way, maybe that kind of dust that starts flying out of it, and you'll see it kind of flying in the air. That's the starch that kind of keeps the bristles together, and it helps them keep their shape, especially during transport. So as you can see, it kind of fluffs out. It's not as pointy as it originally was. Now, you don't want to just kind of do that and be done with it. You want to sit there and kind of work it through, and really try to tease out as much of this as possible. So I'm actually going to see if I can zoom in just a little bit and show you kind of in between the bristles. I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but all that like fuzz that kind of you see between the bristles, that's the starch, and that's what you want to kind of get out of the brush. Actually, I'll try to move it in the middle for you. So what you want to do is kind of just start teasing the brush, continuing to tease the brush until you get most of this out. What you can also do, a couple things. So one thing that you can do is take like a orange wood stick, cuticle pusher, something that is just kind of tiny, and you can start kind of teasing it out like this and just start working it through, kind of combing through the hairs. That works, as well as sometimes what I do is I go in with like a manicure brush that looks like that, and I will start, and I'm not going to do it on this because I'm using that towel, but you can start kind of brushing through the hairs and trying to tease out. Oh, sorry, I didn't even realize. Since I zoomed in, it's hard for me to focus, but you can tease out that little starch piece. So go ahead and start doing that and start kind of just continuing to, oops, sorry, it's out of focus, but continuing to just brush through and get all that starch out. Once you get majority of it out, I'll show you what to do next. Once you've done that for about like 10 or so minutes, just kind of, like I said, just teasing out all of that starch, you're going to get left with a brush that looks kind of like this. So it's very fluffy. It looks all nice and clean because it hasn't been used yet. And what you want to go ahead and do is take some monomer and go ahead and dip your brush into that monomer. Just kind of get it really saturated. Go ahead and just start wiping off that brush, really kind of working those bristles to get any remainder of that starch out. Once you have teased most of it out, this is going to be a lot easier. Don't go straight in with the monomer because it'll kind of gunk up the brush with all of that starch. You want to kind of use the use the towel and the monomer to get out just the remainder of it. You don't want there to be really much left in the bristles before you go in with the monomer. So I'm going to go ahead and continue to do that. Do it a couple times. And then once you do that, you can go ahead and kind of shape your brush however which way you want. So some people go ahead and they kind of shape it back into that point. I think that for some brushes that works, like my Young Nails artistic sculptor brush, I do feel like it works best when it just gets put back into that point. Most brushes, I don't particularly like to keep it that way. I actually like to kind of tease it to be a little bit more flat once I'm done with it. I just find that this is the way I like to work, and this is the shape that I like my brush to be while I'm working. So I end up liking to keep it flat so that it just starts holding that shape a lot better as I'm applying it and using it over time. So however you prefer to do it, go ahead and do that. The only thing I will say is if you're like me and you prefer to just keep it kind of flat to get more of that like point or like that like paddle shape, you don't want to go in and use the cap because now it's wide and you will risk actually fraying the sides of the brush if I go in and put it this way, versus if I went in and I had it a little bit more pointed, it's going to kind of taper in, so it won't do that as likely when you go in and put the cap on. So it's up to you and your preference and what you prefer to, like what shape you prefer to work with, but like I said, I tend to prefer it just a little bit more on the flat end. I do like to taper it in so it doesn't start fraying, but I do like to keep it more flat than pointed at the end. So once you have all of that, you can go ahead in with your acrylic. So I have just a pot of acrylic here. This is the Mia Secret Cover Nude Blush. This is just one of my favorite nudes that I work with. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to pick up like a medium-sized bead. So I'm just going to wipe off the end of that, go in and tap twice into the powder. That is a perfect looking bead. Very round, very moist, and you can see it's just starting to soften as it sits on the brush, as the acrylic monomer just feeds into that powder. Oop, that was bad. I didn't push that down far enough, but I'll show you another one. So that's what that looks like when you go ahead and pick up a bead. And as you pick up acrylic with the brushes, what's going to happen is you're actually going to have some of that acrylic powder stay on the brush, not enough to really gunk it up and make it hard, but it does kind of leave this almost film the more you use an acrylic brush, and that'll help it keep its shape over time as well. You want to make sure you're not leaving so much acrylic in it that you are risking it getting hard and not being usable anymore. Obviously there are ways to clean it, but keeping it clean from the start is going to be your best bet. So that is a medium-sized bead with this brush. I'm still kind of getting used to using it, but it gives you kind of an idea of what that looks like. We can go in and do a large bead. I'll probably actually just add a tad bit more monomer in here because it's a very small dappen dish. So I don't prefer to use dappen dishes this small when I work. I find that they're a little bit tricky and they get gunky really fast, but they do work. So I'm going to go ahead, wipe off the end, and just to show you, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 into the powder, and that is a large size bead. So as you can see, still very round, very supple. It starts to soften with that monomer the more it sits there, and then you can go ahead and place that down onto the nail. So I think it's not releasing as easily because I'm allowing it to sit a little bit before, and I'm also putting it onto a towel. I feel like when you put it onto the towel, it kind of bleeds out some of the monomer, so it doesn't release as easily, but I think as you work on a nail, it will work out a lot easier. So you have medium bead, although I didn't blend that out very nicely, so it looks kind of a wonky shape, but you have a large bead, and then if I go ahead and I take off most of the monomer here on the brush, I can go in and get a small bead. So I'll go in right there and get a small bead. So really it depends on what you like to work with, what size, what shape, what density. So if you want something that is a little bit heavier in your hand, pick up the Izzy Busy or the Alicia Sculpt. If you want something that is a little bit more lightweight in your hand, pick up the Oscar the Wild or the Mr. Buttons brush. I really like the packaging on the Oscar the Wild and the Mr. Buttons. I feel like it's very unique packaging. It almost makes me want to keep it in that more pointed shape just so I can use the actual cap. So I might do that with these brushes just because I really, really like the design of the package or the handle of it and the cap. But like I said, it's up to you how you decide to use your brush, and up to you what type of brush you prefer to use for your application. So she has a few. I don't know if she plans in the future to start expanding the size brushes that she has to go even bigger and even smaller, because it can go, the smallest she has right now is a 10, but you can go as small as like I think a 6 before you start getting into more of like the art style brushes versus like an actual like full nail acrylic applicator or sculptor brush. That's when you start getting into the brushes used for like 3D work. So you know, she can go even smaller than this, and she can go a lot bigger. You know, they have brushes, you know, as far as I've seen it, like up to at least a 22. So I don't know if she's ever going to do that, but the brushes that she has picked so far, the sizes that she has so far, I think are the most kind of universally used. Most people, from what I see, use between a 10 and a 14. You do have people that go bigger and you do have people that go smaller, but I do find that universally majority of people are at least at like a 10 or a 12, and then if you want to go on the bigger end tends to be like a 14 or a 16. So I think that they're good sizes. The packaging is really nice. I will link them all down below for the prices so that you guys can check that out as well. But let me know what you thought of these brushes, what you thought of the tools. Let me know if you've ever tried any of her products and what you thought of them. And let me know kind of what videos you would like to see for me using these products, because I definitely want to get some more ideas and some more videos going for you guys. So I hope you guys enjoy how consistent I have been, at least as of late. I do hope to keep that going. And I just hope to have some more fun, play more with nails, and learn a lot with you guys. So hit the like button on this video if you liked it and want to see more from me. Subscribe to this channel if you want to see more videos. And comment down below letting me know what you thought of this video, of the products, and letting me know what you guys would like to see in the future. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye, everybody.